Hello, esteemed gentlemen. True power isn't announced, it's felt. Most people spend their entire lives trying to prove themselves. They talk too much, chase attention, and follow rules that were never designed for them. Sigma males? They don't play the game, they design the blueprint. Here's a fact. In any room, the person who speaks the least but observes the most holds the real power. While others scramble for status, Sigmas quietly dismantle the system from the inside out, deciding who wins before the competition even begins. They don't raise the bar by asking permission. They force the world to adjust to their level, and by the time people notice, it's already too late. So what makes them different? What makes them dangerous, unpredictable, and impossible to control? Keep reading, because once you understand, you'll never see the world the same way again. Number 1. They understand that respect is just a game of leverage. Most people spend their entire lives chasing respect, trying to earn it, demand it, or prove they deserve it. They bend over backwards, seek approval, and get frustrated when they don't receive the recognition they think they've worked for. But Sigma males, they never play that game. They know something most people don't. Respect isn't real. It's just leverage. Think about it. People respect what they can't easily access. The moment something becomes common, it loses its value. That's why the rarest metals, the most exclusive clubs, and the most mysterious individuals always hold the most intrigue. Sigmas apply this principle to themselves. They understand that respect isn't something you ask for. It's something people assign to you based on your level of scarcity. This is why Sigmas don't overexpose themselves. They don't flood the market with their presence. They don't chase friendships, attention, or validation because they know that the more available you are, the less people appreciate you. They move on their own terms, disappearing when necessary, only to reappear when it benefits them the most. And the result? People start noticing their absence, wondering what they're up to, and realizing their worth only after they're gone. Meanwhile, those who beg for respect usually end up losing it. The moment you try to prove your value, you're admitting you lack it. People sense desperation, and desperation makes you disposable. That's why Sigma males never explain themselves, never overcompensate, and never seek approval. They let their presence or absence do the talking. It's not arrogance, it's strategy. The less you offer, the more people want. The less you explain, the more they assume. And the less you try to prove, the more powerful you appear. Sigma males understand that respect isn't about dominance, aggression, or status. It's about perception. And when you control how people perceive you, you don't need to ask for respect. You become the one who decides who gets yours. Number 2, they create artificial scarcity, even of themselves. Most people make the mistake of being too available. They flood social media with their every thought, attend every event, reply instantly, and try to be everywhere at once. In doing so, they make themselves common, easily accessible, predictable, and ultimately forgettable. Sigma males operate differently. They understand a powerful truth. The rarer something is, the more valuable it becomes. So they apply this concept to themselves, creating artificial scarcity. They don't disappear entirely, but they are selective with their time, their presence, and their energy. When a Sigma male enters a conversation, a meeting, or even a social setting, it isn't an everyday occurrence, it's an event. People notice. His words hold weight because he doesn't hand them out like free samples. His presence leaves an impression because it's not something people can take for granted. This scarcity does 2 things. First, it makes people value their time with him. When someone knows they might not get another chance to speak with him, they pay closer attention. They choose their words carefully. They listen more than they usually would. He doesn't have to demand respect. His absence creates it for him. Second, it builds intrigue. People are naturally curious about what they can't have. A Sigma's selective nature makes people wonder about him. Where does he go? What is he thinking? Why doesn't he seek attention like everyone else? This mystery raises his perceived value, making others chase his attention instead of the other way around. The best part? Sigma males don't do this as an act. It's not some manipulative social trick. They genuinely prefer their solitude, so their absence isn't a strategy. It's a side effect of their natural state. But that side effect forces the world to pay attention in ways that endless self-promotion never could. By limiting access to himself, a Sigma male makes sure that when he does show up, it matters. And in a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, the one who remains elusive always holds the most power. Number 3. They master the art of calculated boredom. Most people feel the need to perform in social settings, to entertain, impress, or prove their worth. They crack jokes, overshare, or try too hard to be the center of attention. Sigma males do the opposite. They master the art of calculated boredom, appearing intentionally dull to see who has the patience and depth to see beyond the surface. This isn't laziness or social awkwardness, it's a deliberate test. When a Sigma interacts with a new group or individual, he doesn't immediately reveal his intelligence, wit, or charisma. Instead, he keeps things surface level and mundane, watching how people respond. Most will assume he's just another unremarkable person and lose interest quickly. And that's the point. Those people just failed the test. Why? Because shallow minds need constant stimulation. They crave excitement, drama, and entertainment. If someone gets bored too easily, it tells the Sigma that they lack the patience, curiosity, or intelligence to uncover what's beneath. These people aren't worth engaging. They move on, never realizing what they just missed. But the rare ones, the ones who sense there's more, who stay engaged, ask the right questions, or pick up on the subtle depth behind the Sigma's words, they get access. They've proven they have the ability to read between the lines, to see beyond the obvious, to appreciate something deeper than just surface-level entertainment. This strategy also creates another powerful advantage. It makes people underestimate him. When someone assumes he's dull or unremarkable, they lower their guard, they reveal more than they should, they become predictable. Meanwhile, the Sigma is collecting data, learning their patterns, and deciding whether they're worth his time, all while they assume he's just another forgettable face in the crowd. In a world addicted to attention and instant gratification, the Sigma's ability to appear uninteresting on purpose filters out the noise. He doesn't waste time on those who don't deserve it. He lets people reveal themselves, and only those with the patience to see the depth beneath get to experience what truly makes him different. Number 4. They train their minds to find the exit before entering. Most people dive headfirst into jobs, relationships, and social circles without a second thought, assuming things will work out. Then, when things go wrong, they scramble for a way out, trapped by their own lack of foresight. Sigma males, they never put themselves in that position. Before they step into any situation, whether it's a business deal, a friendship, or even a casual gathering, they've already figured out how they'll leave if they need to. This isn't paranoia, it's strategic control. The moment you commit to something without an exit plan, you give away your power. You become dependent on the situation working out, which makes you vulnerable. A Sigma male ensures that never happens. If he takes a job, he has a backup plan, a side hustle, a skill set, or a network that ensures he's never stuck under someone else's authority. If he enters a relationship, he maintains his independence, never tying his entire identity to another person. If he joins a social group, he remains on the outside edge, never fully entangled in the drama or expectations that come with belonging. This mindset creates a powerful psychological advantage. He is never desperate. Employers can't control him because he can walk away at any moment. Relationships don't define him because he's not afraid to leave if it stops serving him. Social circles don't dictate his choices because he never needs validation from the group. And here's the part most people miss. This makes him even more desirable. The ability to leave whenever he wants makes employers value him more, partners respect him more, and social circles try harder to keep him around. Because in a world where most people cling to security, a man who can disappear at any moment is both feared and admired. Sigma males don't just prepare for failure. They design their lives to ensure they're never trapped, and in doing so, they maintain the one thing that truly matters: absolute freedom. Number 5. They utilize the low-profile strategy to gather intel. Most people assume that power comes from being the loudest in the room, commanding attention, or establishing dominance. Alphas thrive on this. They make their presence known, expect respect, and demand to be heard. But Sigma males, they move in silence and learn everything while saying almost nothing. By keeping a low profile, Sigmas make themselves non-threatening. They don't challenge egos, they don't compete for dominance, and they don't make themselves the center of attention. And because of this, people drop their guard around them, revealing information they would never share with someone they saw as a competitor or authority figure. It's a simple psychological trick. People talk more when they don't feel watched. While an alpha's presence makes people cautious, a sigma's quiet nature makes people comfortable, sometimes a little too comfortable. They'll start venting about their problems, exposing weaknesses, or even sharing secrets, completely unaware that the sigma is taking mental notes. This is where the real power lies. The sigma doesn't just listen. He studies patterns, motivations, and unspoken dynamics. He learns who can be trusted, who is full of empty words, and who holds real influence. He doesn't need to ask direct questions. People hand him the answers without even realizing it. And the best part, because he never makes himself the obvious center of attention, no one suspects he has gathered this much intel. They see him as an observer, maybe even a little forgettable, but that's exactly what makes him so dangerous in any social, business, or personal situation. He holds all the cards without ever having to show his hand. While others exhaust themselves trying to control the room, the sigma controls the bigger picture, quietly, patiently, and without resistance. And when the time comes to make a move, he already knows everyone's weaknesses, alliances, and motives, because they handed him that information while he was simply watching. Number 6. They understand people better than people understand themselves. Most people think they understand themselves. They believe their decisions are based on logic, their emotions are under control, and their motives are clear. But the truth, most people are walking contradictions, predictable, easily influenced, and blind to their own patterns. Sigma males see through this illusion instantly. While others get caught up in what people say, Sigmas focus on what people actually do. They notice the subtle inconsistencies, the hesitation in someone's voice, the slight shift in body language, the way someone's words don't quite match their actions. They don't just listen, they decode. Because they are naturally observant and detached, they can analyze behavior without emotional bias. Most people project their own beliefs onto others, assuming people think and feel the way they do. Sigma males don't make that mistake. They watch objectively, recognizing patterns and spotting people's weaknesses before those people even realize they have them. This is why Sigmas are almost impossible to manipulate. Someone might believe they're fooling everyone, but the Sigma saw through them 5 minutes ago and is just deciding whether it's even worth the effort to expose them. It's also why they rarely get blindsided, because they notice red flags before they become disasters. Even more interesting, Sigmas often understand people better than they understand themselves. They recognize when someone's ego is driving their decisions, when someone is lying to themselves about what they really want, and when someone's insecurities are shaping their behavior. And because most people aren't self-aware, they have no idea how transparent they really are to someone like a Sigma. This ability gives the Sigma a unique advantage in every area of life: business, relationships, negotiations. He knows how people will react before they do. He can predict emotional responses, steer conversations in certain directions, and even let people think they're in control while subtly guiding the outcome. While others struggle to understand their own emotions, the Sigma sees the entire game board, and that's why, no matter the situation, he's always 3 steps ahead. Number 7. They don't rebel. They render the system obsolete. Most people think breaking the rules means rebelling, pushing back, resisting authority, or fighting the system head-on. But rebellion is still engagement. It still acknowledges the system's power by opposing it. Sigma males don't waste their time rebelling. They do something far more effective. They make the system irrelevant. While others fight to change the rules, Sigmas step outside the entire framework. They don't beg for freedom, they just take it. They don't protest a corrupt workplace, they build an independent income stream. They don't waste energy complaining about society's expectations, they simply ignore them and live life on their own terms. This is why Sigmas seem so untouchable. You can't control someone who doesn't need what the system offers. He doesn't crave validation, so he's immune to peer pressure. He doesn't rely on traditional career paths, so corporate structures have no hold over him. He doesn't seek approval, so social expectations have zero influence on his decisions. The world tries to keep people trapped in cycles, debt, dependency, meaningless status games. Most people either comply or fight back. The Sigma, he quietly exits. While others waste time debating or protesting, he's already figured out a way to live on his own terms, on his own timeline, under his own rules. And the irony? The moment he renders the system obsolete for himself, people start following his lead. They see someone who refuses to be controlled, who lives with true freedom, and suddenly they start questioning everything. They realize they've been playing a rigged game, and now they want out too. This is the real power of the Sigma male. He doesn't destroy the system. He just makes it irrelevant. And in doing so, he becomes exactly what the system fears most, a man they can't control, influence, or break. Number 8. They can mirror anyone without losing themselves. Most people either adapt too much or refuse to adapt at all. They either lose themselves trying to fit in or stand out so aggressively that they make themselves an outsider. Sigma males? They've mastered the perfect middle ground. They can mirror anyone, blend into any environment, and move through any social setting seamlessly, but without ever losing themselves in the process. This isn't fake. It's not manipulation. It's strategy. A Sigma doesn't change who he is. He simply adjusts how much of himself he shows. If he's in a room full of intellectuals, he speaks their language. If he's around high-energy extroverts, he subtly matches their rhythm just enough to flow with the conversation. If he's in a business meeting, he reads the room and presents himself in the way that will get the best results. The key difference, he never gets emotionally attached to the role. Most people who adapt to social situations do it because they need to belong. They crave approval, validation, or connection. A Sigma does it purely out of choice. He remains emotionally detached, observing the social dynamic like an outsider even while engaging in it. This ability gives him a massive advantage. People instinctively trust those who seem familiar. When someone sees a reflection of themselves in another person, they drop their guard. They feel understood. And without realizing it, they become more open, more honest, and more willing to let the Sigma into their world. Meanwhile, the Sigma remains completely unaffected by the interaction. He's not swayed by groupthink. He doesn't absorb the emotions of those around him. He's like a chameleon that can change colors at will, but never forgets what he actually is. This makes him nearly impossible to pin down. He can navigate any social circle, move between different worlds, and blend into environments where others would struggle, all while staying completely in control of himself. And when he decides to leave, he vanishes without a trace, having taken exactly what he needed without giving away anything he didn't want to. Number 9. They time their appearances for maximum impact. Most people scatter their presence everywhere, showing up constantly, whether it matters or not. They attend every event, engage in every conversation, and insert themselves into situations where their presence is barely noticed. Sigma males, they do the opposite. A Sigma never appears just to be seen. He times his presence for maximum impact. When he shows up, it's because the moment is ripe, because his absence has already created intrigue, because his presence will shift the dynamic, or because he has something valuable to contribute. This strategy makes his presence feel important. Since he's not always around, people notice when he is. He avoids overexposure, ensuring that when he enters a room, conversation, or situation, it actually means something. It's the difference between a song played on repeat that people tune out and a rare performance that people stop everything to watch. And it's not just about physical presence. It applies to communication, social media, and even relationships. Sigmas don't text back instantly, don't engage in every meaningless debate, and don't make themselves easy to access. This isn't arrogance, it's control. The more selective they are with their time and attention, the more others value it. Even in business, this mindset gives them an edge. While others fight to stay constantly relevant, the Sigma steps in only when it's necessary, making his contributions seem more powerful. He doesn't waste energy proving his worth. His timing proves it for him. And then he disappears again. No lingering, no overstaying, no watering down his presence. By the time people realize he was there, he's already gone, leaving behind an effect that lingers longer than someone who was present the entire time. A Sigma understands that in a world where everyone is desperate to be seen, true power comes from being seen only when it matters most. Number 10. They know that influence is a long game. Most people chase instant power. They want to be in charge, get recognition, and assert dominance right now. They push for leadership roles, demand attention, and try to control others through force or status. Sigma males? They play a different game entirely. They understand that real influence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the one people unknowingly depend on. Instead of forcing authority, they position themselves strategically, making themselves so valuable that over time, people can't function without them. This is why Sigmas don't rush for leadership. They don't fight for titles, chase social validation, or demand recognition. They quietly become the backbone of situations, relationships, and systems. They master skills no one else bothered to learn. They develop knowledge others need but don't have. They create networks that people only notice when they need something, and by the time others realize it, it's too late. The Sigma has already woven himself into the foundation of the structure. The boss who thought he was just another employee now realizes the business can't function without him. The social circle that barely noticed him now seeks his advice when things go wrong. The competitor who underestimated him now finds himself indirectly relying on the Sigma's decisions. This long-game strategy makes the Sigma untouchable, because while others fight for temporary power, he builds permanent leverage. He doesn't need to demand respect. People give it to him when they realize that without him, things start falling apart. By the time others understand what's happening, the Sigma has already secured his position without ever having to compete. While others play for quick victories, he plays for control that lasts. Number 11. They master a high-value skill set that others ignore. Most people chase status-based skills, the kind that look impressive on paper, but don't actually give them leverage. They want titles, degrees, or trendy abilities that make them seem important. But Sigma males? They focus on something entirely different. Sigmas master high-value skills that others overlook, the ones that aren't flashy but make them indispensable. While everyone else is chasing recognition, they quietly develop expertise in areas that give them control, independence, and undeniable leverage. These aren't always the skills that get immediate praise. They're the ones that silently hold everything together. Maybe it's mastering an uncommon technical skill that makes them irreplaceable in their field. Maybe it's understanding human psychology so well that they can predict behaviors before people even act. Maybe it's becoming financially self-sufficient in ways that make them completely unaffected by economic shifts. The key is choosing skills that create dependency, not for them, but for everyone else. By the time people realize how much they rely on the Sigma's expertise, he's already holding all the cards. And the best part? No one sees it coming. Sigmas don't advertise their skills. They don't brag or seek validation. They let everyone assume they're just another player in the game, until the moment they reveal that, actually, they've been running the board the entire time. That's why Sigmas never struggle for control. While others try to talk their way into power, the Sigma simply becomes too valuable to ignore. Most men chase power, respect, and influence the hard way, by demanding it, forcing it, or constantly proving themselves. Sigma males, they don't chase anything. They become the kind of men who naturally attract what others fight for. They don't beg for respect. They create scarcity and let the world assign them value. They don't rebel against the system. They make it irrelevant in their lives. They don't seek dominance. They play the long game, positioning themselves in ways others don't see until it's too late. And most importantly, they don't move on anyone else's terms but their own. In a world that thrives on noise, the Sigma remains silent but never unnoticed. In a society obsessed with control, he moves freely and untouchable. And while others burn themselves out trying to be seen, he shows up only when it matters, and then, disappears again, leaving an impact that lingers long after he's gone. That's why Sigmas always raise the bar, not by demanding attention, not by proving themselves, but by being the rarest force in any room, the one who doesn't need the game to win it. If this breakdown hit differently, if you saw something in it that most people miss, you already think like a Sigma. And in a world where true independence is rare, that puts you ahead of 99% of people. Now, here's the deal. This channel isn't for everyone. It's not for those who want sugar-coated advice or mainstream clichés. It's for those who see the game for what it is and want to move differently. If that's you, then make it official. Subscribe now, not just to follow, but to stay ahead. Hit the like button, because content like this stays rare for a reason. Drop a comment below, your thoughts, your perspective, your experience. And if you know someone who needs to wake up to these truths, share this with them. Most will scroll past. A few will take action. You already know which side you belong to.